Every story has a beginning, but this one starts where most tales end, with a happily ever after that wasn't meant to last. Years had passed since the magical night when Cinderella married the prince and began her new life in the royal palace. Her story, once like a fairy tale, had now turned into a routine filled with royal responsibilities, formal meetings, and endless glamour. Cinderella was a kind and beloved queen, adored by her people. Yet, behind her radiant smile and elegant gowns, she felt like something was missing. Every night, after the ceremonies were over and the palace fell silent, Cinderella would step onto her small balcony and gaze at the stars. In the quiet of the night, she often wondered, is this truly the life I dreamed of? One day, during a visit to a distant part of the kingdom, Cinderella noticed a woman stitching torn clothes by hand. She paused and watched, the sight pulling her back to the days when she, too, had mended her tattered dresses in the small attic of her stepmother's house. A strange feeling stirred in her heart. When she returned to the palace, she went to her old storage room. There, hidden beneath layers of dust, she found a small box she had kept from her past. Inside were remnants of her old life, a scrap of her patched dress, a small broom, and a shard of the broken glass slipper that had changed her life. Suddenly, the prince entered the room, startling her. "Cinderella, I've noticed that you've been unhappy for some time now. What's troubling you?" Cinderella sighed and said softly, "When I was a poor, simple girl, I always had something to fight for. Now everything seems perfect, but I feel like I've lost a part of myself. I don't know how to find it again." The prince, who had always been her greatest supporter, smiled and said, "Maybe the part you've lost is still the same girl who dreamed big despite all the challenges. Let's rediscover what brought us here, and why we fell in love in the first place." The next day, Cinderella decided to step out of the palace and venture into the city as someone unknown. She dressed in plain clothes and walked through the bustling streets, blending in with the people. In the crowded marketplace, she spotted an elderly woman selling scraps of fabric with trembling hands. As Cinderella drew closer, her eyes widened in disbelief. The woman was none other than the fairy godmother who had once changed her life. "Why are you here?" Cinderella asked in astonishment. "I've never forgotten your kindness." The fairy godmother smiled gently. "My dear, I don't have much magic left, but I've always watched over you. I see now that your life's magic has dimmed." Cinderella lowered her head and confessed, "I have everything, yet I feel incomplete. I don't know how to feel joy again." The fairy godmother replied, "The real magic has always been within you, Cinderella. To rediscover it, you must help others and share what you've learned from your journey." Inspired by the fairy godmother's words, Cinderella returned to the palace with a newfound purpose. She made a bold decision to use her wealth and position to help those in need. She established a charitable foundation that provided education and opportunities to children who, like her, had faced hardship. Cinderella personally met with people, listened to their stories, and shared her own. She realized that true happiness lay in making a difference in others' lives and restoring hope to those who had none. Months later, at her first grand charity event, a little girl approached Cinderella shyly and asked, "Queen Cinderella, were you really like us once?" Cinderella knelt down with a warm smile and said, "Yes, I was just like you. Life was hard, but hope and determination brought me here. And you can achieve your dreams too." Throughout it all, the prince remained by Cinderella's side, supporting her efforts and reminding her that there was nothing more beautiful than a woman striving to create a better world. And so, Cinderella learned that the true magic in her life was never in a glass slipper or a grand palace, but in her kind heart and her ability to transform the lives of others.